I have a question for you going back to the like working cause so solo agent, work for Brad J. Lamb, then transitioned and you were like, okay, I want to like do my own brokerage thing. One of the questions I want to ask you, because I'm seeing this like more so in the marketplace now, is a lot of people wanting to like start their own team or start something bigger, right? And there's a lot of people out there that like it works for, but there's also a lot of people out there that just do it from like the ego kind of boost. And
Yep.
they really got to take the like step back to understand this it actually wasn't the right move, and there's something that's like totally fine with that, but it's really hard as a human to like let that go. So what was the catalyst to get you to be comfortable to say like, hey, this wasn't the right move, I'm actually going to pivot and go somewhere else? And like, how did you check your ego at the door to get yourself in that position?
I mean, I know the answer that would be like most helpful in this scenario, but that wasn't my path. I tend to not learn from my mistakes as quickly as some other people do. So I've always done these things to feed my ego. And this all comes with like an extreme, amount of work on self-awareness and understanding why certain decisions are made and why I've decided to do one thing versus the other. And as I went down that path and that journey, started journaling and thinking and really, meditating with that thought. All of it always came back to ego. So like a lot of the moves that I've made, a lot of the mistakes that I've made, a lot of the mistakes that I've made that, affect, could affect your financial future and all that stuff. All of those things came from a place of trying to look like something to somebody else. And that's why, and it's really hard to admit something like that. And it took a long time to kind of even be aware of that, because you're like, oh no, like I've got this groundbreaking technology. That's why I'm starting a brokerage, because it's going to redefine this or redefine that. But why? So you can be something, or you can actually like make a change and help people do something, right? So I was coming from it from I'm trying to be something, like put me on a pedestal, like way up here kind of person. And when you come from a place like that, I always wondered, how come, Emma has all this energy to just become such a killer at marketing and automations and technology and all that stuff, but I've got to struggle so hard just to like do this one thing. It's not because you're smarter than me or anything, but the reasons why you're doing those things are more in line with who you are versus just aligning it with your ego. And also, it just, when you're doing that, it allows you to move through those hard moments a lot, more, not easily, but it gives you that little wind you need, that little like moment of like, I got to just fucking finish this. Like, I don't care. Like, I've got to just get to the finish line. It allows you to have the energy to do stuff like that. So the way I got there was just really spending a lot of time writing down, who am I and what do I want? That's an exercise that stuck with me for a very long time. I started doing it 2 years ago, but it really stuck with me. So in the morning, I write down, who am I and what do I want? At night, I write the same thing. And sometimes it's crazy how things change from morning till night. But then when you string together like 6 months of doing that, imagine the data you have in your head, or like the context you have in your head about you. And then that's when decisions become easier and no's become easier and yeses become a lot easier, when it's like you're moving down a path that's aligned with like who you are and like with a specific purpose and intent, versus having a brokerage is higher or better than being an agent. So that's what I want. So when I can tell people I own a brokerage, but they don't know that it's losing like 15 grand a month, agents are quitting every other week, but like, hey, I own a brokerage, So I don't know if that answers your question, but it was really just a massive journey in self-awareness and understanding why I was doing the thing.